It's very dark. I think. This is dumb. What a mess. Talk about getting prepared for something. Being prepared. Something like that. I'll try that one. See where this goes. Ah. Phew. I'm still learning here. Be patient with it. Be patient with understanding it's all. It's alright. That's all about. Thanks for looking at spooky. The spooky look. So I'm on live, I believe. Yes, I'm live. 2:28 live. I wonder if I could do something like that. Start over again. Hey, this is the way it was for you when you first started doing this, so there you go. What we're going to talk about. This lockdown thing. It's kind of getting on my nerves. Which is pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable, I think. It's been quite some time and it's really only starting to get to me now. And, how difficult is it for others? I'm one of these message carrier guys. I'm the one that you find drinking coffee on his own in a meeting. You see a guy like that, it's probably a message carrier. Good idea to have a word with. So that would be maybe a life changer. But that's me. Sometimes I go to meetings and I share and I just walk out because I can't handle the complete rubbish that you hear in these rooms. Complete utter rubbish. It's got so bad. I've been 93, was it 93? Yeah, 93 I came in here. I'd lost my son in 90. He was murdered. And wow, you can't explain it, what it's like when somebody phones you up to tell you your son's dead. The 16-year-old son was just about to sign for a professional football club. He's dead. Good God. And I won't dwell on that. But I do believe that that was part of me getting into these rooms. When I came in, I went to the meeting and I had an immediate resentment against AA because when I phoned them, it was a bloody answering machine. I thought, bloody cheek. Answering machine. Do they know who I am? And this is after a serious bender with a drink. If you saw me on the Sunday, it was a total mess. Total mess. And this was February, I think, January, February, 93. But they left an address to go to. I lived in Hall Beach, and the meeting was in Spalding, which I think was about 10 miles away. And I went up to the town and waited on the bus. I was tempted. I had enough for a half pint. I don't think I went in. So I got on a bus. Right. Could I have a return to Spalding? They said, well, yeah, I can get you to Spalding, but this is the last bus. You won't get a return. Oh, right. That's coming into it. But I had nothing else to do with my time. It's as simple as that. I had nothing else to do with my time. Okay, so I got on it. And I turned up at the meeting eventually. Driver gave me a bum steer. I was getting upset, crying. And then I saw a guy walking up this big long driveway. I thought, I wonder where he's from. So I followed him. It was Arsenal Dave, they called him. God knows where he is now. He's quite a young guy. So I followed this guy, and there it was. And I walked in and sat down, and thus the story began. And the abuse of me. They didn't know that I seriously doubt if any of them know that they're actually abusing people with some of the stuff they're saying. But nonetheless, there was no message there. And I didn't know. And I didn't know. What chance have I got? What chance has anybody got when they first walk into these rooms? They don't know, and they don't know, they don't know. That's cunning, baffling, and powerful. Believe me, I personally consider to be the devil working through people that you should be able to trust. If you read the page 18 of that big book, there's a man described, a man or woman, the ex-problem drinker, who's found this solution, who's in possession of the facts about himself, can win the attention of an alcoholic nobody else can. Win the confidence. And without whom little or nothing can be achieved. This is their experience. So here we are, page 18, they're telling you that basically telling you that the meeting should select somebody to help you. There should be somebody there. There should be somebody in every meeting who can take you through the program. Every meeting, at least one person. Wow. Some of the meetings I went to. And all those poor wee souls, they all meant it, and they were also, I just feel so sorry for them. And where did they end up? Where the hell did they end up? And I don't know. If they're real alcoholics, that's where they need page 18. The book. Oh, right, you're talking about a book? Yeah, I'm talking about a book. Right, okay. Big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Get a copy. It's the most remarkable book, I believe, ever written. Wow, that's a statement, isn't it? When you consider the Bible. Wow. This book was inspired. It's inspirational. In spirit. Spiritual. That's what that means. Spiritual. To be inspired, to be in spirit. Wow. So pointed out the man on page 18. So this is a message to every meeting in this country and any other country. The sole purpose of your meeting is to take newcomers through the book and get them through the book as soon as possible. And guess what, guys? To your eternal shame, and if anybody's listening to this and is involved, like St. Paul and his apostles, I might go into St. Paul a bit later. People who AA is, if you go to AA, you're very fragile. You're very fragile, and you're very vulnerable to people like St. Paul. He talks and he could turn the birds out of the trees, and he's a dangerous man. But he's got his people behind him. He's got his support behind him, and I had to point it out to him once, and he didn't get it. Why he's sharing that people, this is what he shared. People come up to me and ask me why I'm so happy. You know, a newcomer hearing that, good grief. What is this? Who is this nutter? And yet he's got his followers. Dreadful, dreadful man. Dreadful man. And I'm telling through experience because I've taken a few people through this program, and a few of these people have been dealing with that guy, this guy Paul, and so I know what I'm talking about regarding him and his so-called message carrying. So you're up against it. You're up against it, and that's why I stick to the book, because there's no problem with the book. There's no problem at all. There you are, page 18. There's the man. Okay. Without whom little or nothing can be achieved. Okay, let's get the man on page 18 for this newcomer. Right, fine. And let's get on board here. So we identify the problem. What's the problem? Powerlessness. What do you mean? I'm going to play the role of the newcomer. What do you mean powerless? Well, when you want to stop, can you? No. When you start, can you control the amount you drink? Guarantee when you finish? No. Can you admit that that's powerlessness? No, I can't admit it. Right, off you go. Go and try some controlled drinking. Come back when you're ready, because you're not ready. If you're an alcoholic, these things should be clear to you. When you want to stop, you can. When you start, you can't control the amount you drink. Guarantee when you finish. That's powerlessness. And that's the first paragraph of chapter 4. And the chapter to the agnostic. That's nice. What's an agnostic? That's somebody who kind of believes but not sure what they're believing in. So they're open. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. They're open. Okay. So there you go. We've discovered that you're powerless. I'm now on a roll with the program. I'll try not to distract myself from it. So I'm powerless. I need a power. These people wrote this book, and it's what they done. So they need a power. And when you want to stop, you can. When you start, you can. I'm powerless. I need a power. Okay, where will I find this power? Teaching step 3. Turn your life and your will over to the care of God as you understand God. All right, that's pretty reasonable. And so every question every step begs a question. So beautifully simple. Every step begs a question. How did they do it? And every question is answered in the first 103 pages of that book. Wow, that's cool. And as we come to each step, it will be reinforced. So step 3, you make a decision. What? To turn my life, my will over to the care of God. Next question, how did they do that? They launched out in a course of vigorous action. Launched and vigorous. They're not coming back, and they're not sitting about on it. They're right in there. Oh, right, that's cool, because I've had so many people in the room. So it took me months to do my step 4, and I did my step 5 resolve, for goodness sake. And they're just frightening people away. And yet it's the simplest thing in the world. And to do a step 4, following their instructions, at the end of it, I'll guarantee you that you'll be a different person. And only takes about 6 hours on average. I've taken a lot of people through the program, so I think you can rely on like guesstimates or whatever. They're pretty accurate. I don't mess about with this stuff. I'm acutely aware that for every alcoholic, there's other innocents hooked onto the alcoholic. And the wee sick wife who gets off on it. Poor wee me, all that, why me? And the children, the most important, children, innocents. Got to try and save the children. That worked for me to a certain degree. So I know it works. So they launched out the course of rigorous action. First part of which was what was the first part? See, this is it again. I keep forgetting to get my book because I don't need it. But I need it to help you guys. And I've got 2 of them. And guess what? I've just found one. I really will have to become a bit more. I'll have to become a bit more professional, won't I? But here I am. Got it here. This is my old one. It's got to be 15 years old. It's got to be. No, it's a 4th edition. Why did they need a 4th edition? Why did they need it? They didn't need it. Alcoholics are alcoholics. They programmed the program. No need to add to it or change it. But there they are, meddling in it again. Leave it alone. But they don't. So how it works, all right, that's a good one. How it works. You've made the decision and you're ready to launch out. Chapter 5. Chapter 5, how it works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed their path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They're not at fault. They seem to have been that way, been born that way. They're naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. Are you listening, Danny? I might branch out. I might expand on Danny. Well, that kind of describes here. And always an interesting experience. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. Suggested. I remember it's worthwhile relating this little story. Colchester, over Colchester way somewhere. And I was looking for this meet. I said to this wee guy, do you know the aiming this? He said, yeah, I'm getting into it. Yeah, follow me. And then he made it obvious that he knew me. And he said something about, you got to give us another lecture. A lecture. Talk about this program. You're lecturing. Oh, here we go. And I've got a bad back and I'm in pain. I had to climb these stairs. Goodness gracious me. And then I got a seat. And then I started sharing or whatever. And I talked about it being a book of instruction. And this little character, his name's Laurie. He's a retired journalist, a man of words. Okay. He got upset. And he made it obvious. And he interrupted. Extremely rude. Extremely rude. The secretary was very capable. Most of them aren't, and I know because I've been in that position so many times. I mean, the secretary would rather just interrupt and shut me up. Say, no, you don't shut me up. I'm going to continue. And then it gets difficult. And then people see you as being the troublemaker. You know, that's the way it is when you're dealing with people like this. And I don't enjoy it. I don't like it at all. Some guys become very good at challenging these things, and they may even purposely get in meetings to create such an atmosphere. And I don't like it. And that's why I quite often walk out of meetings after I've shared, because nobody's talking about the programme. None of them know. Wasting my time. Then you get upset, I think of it. There's me, Laurie. It's a book of suggestions. Okay, Laurie. You don't need to be so rude. And can I ask you a question? Yeah. What is it suggesting, Laurie? If he knows, then he knows he's in a bind. If he doesn't know, it's no. But either way, he shuts up. It's a book of instruction for you, isn't it? But what did they say? Follow the clear-cut, precise instructions. All right. Okay. That shut him up. I'd made my point. My back was killing. So I walked away. You know, and this is where these people get this idea that I'm a troublemaker. You know, the sick ones. But he's just a troublemaker. There's a big guy up in Letchworth or something like that, and Big Tony. He's been in AA for years. I think he's just come down for a wee talk, a wee whatever. He talks complete rubbish when it comes to the programme, because he doesn't know the programme. And he feels that it's perfectly fine. They just come here and talk whatever they talk. And they accept it. No, you can't do that. You have to get through the programme, and then when you've done that, that's all you want to talk about. And if you don't want to do it, off you go. See you later. And this wee guy, this big guy, Tony's been doing this for years, talking the same stuff about his mother and things like that. It's kind of strange. It's like the psycho thing, you know. That's terrible. No, I retract that. But that's all it does. It's just so utterly boring. Yeah. If you've been to AA meetings, and you know that, you know them when they come up to you, go again. And then they criticise you for preaching at them. Yeah, Will Laurie, he said that. You come here to be preached at by you. Tough. I advocate this programme. I'm an advocate for this programme. Which means I've done it and I know it works. And that's why I'm here. Okay, fine. Try not to spend too much time with this. I get kind of caught up in it. Because it's really dangerous. Really, really dangerous. So that's step 3. We make the decision. And this decision is to turn our life and our will over to the care of God. As we understand God at that basic time. Right, okay, fine. So how do I do that? You take an inventory of your life to find out where this stuff started. A moral inventory, they call it. Moral inventory. What's that mean? What does moral mean? I didn't know what moral meant. The man told me. She's looking for the truth. That's what. She's looking for the truth. All right. Because I didn't know what this stuff meant. I had the mind of a child. I was a class copy. I switched off, 10 years of age. Went to grammar school. Imagine. Briefcase and everything. Shocker. That brings up other things as well. School. But my path had been predicted. When my father died drunk, 10 years of age. Like my mother would. A year later, she's pregnant with twins. I was going to swear. What was she thinking about? What the hell was she doing? This woman was totally incapable. Totally incapable. And that's a constructive criticism. I'm not having a go at her, but she was doing a totally dreadful decision to sleep with this character and end up pregnant with twins, which has already got 5. Oh no, please, no, don't talk about that. This here's a widow, and the doctor discovered Valium for her, so she then became a drug addict. So we were getting brought up by a drug addict, and we didn't know it, and she didn't know it. She didn't know it, and that's the way it is in most of these situations. You just don't know. These people do. Back to the book. You have to take a moral inventory. Step 4. Step 4, yeah. Make a searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself. Okay. So make a list of people that I resent. All right. And I've got an example of it somewhere in chapter 5, I believe. And this is, that's why. Sorry, I'm talking to myself here. This is one of the modern books as well. And there's a little step 3 prayer, page 63. God, I offer myself to you to build with me and to do with me as I will. Relieve me of the bondages of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may be a witness to those I would help. Of thy power, thy love, and thy will life, may I do thy will always. Wow. We thought well before taking this step, asking or making sure we were ready, that we could at last abandon ourselves utterly to him. Jolly good. It's a very simple step. You don't have to get into any, it's just a decision. Knowledge of the course of vigorous action. Step 4. A moral inventory. It's a business which takes no regular activity, usually goes broke. I understood that when they explained that to me. Joe and Charlie on the tapes. That helped. And so how do I lay this paper out? I'm at the man's house, and he gave me, I had an A4 paper book. He said, right, draw a margin down the left hand page, left hand side of the page, about 1 inch in, and draw a margin on the right hand page, about maybe 2 inches in. And draw the lines down, and draw the line across, and 5 lines down, draw another line across. This is your first compartment. So I resent, it's the first column. I resent my mother. The second column, the cause of the resentment. Because of the way she treated me, and she hit me, and she abused me. And I was frightened of her. And that shouldn't happen to a child. And yeah, it's not nice. It's just not nice at all. And I just stayed out the house. I didn't bother. I stayed out all day. And she wasn't bothered either. This is where I was just coming and going, you know. And nothing, just shocking. Total neglect, mentally and emotionally and physically. Wow. And I didn't know. I didn't know that I didn't know what was going on. Shocking stuff. Shocking. And this book was going to blow this out of the water. Totally blow it out of the water. So I've got a list of names, and you do these columns one by one, each one separately. You don't go across the way, because the time you get halfway down the page, you think of the one earlier on, and you go back up to that and start editing it. And before you know, and just bin it and go for a drink. You know, just do the single column. People you resent. Right. Principles I resent. What's a principle? Don't know what a principle is. No, I don't know what a principle is. All right. A principle is a rule in life, basically. These are the principles of life. That you have to do certain things to get on in life. And you have to pay your taxes. You're working. Don't like doing that. You have to keep your car in good fit condition. Don't like paying for that. You have to get an MOT. Don't like that. You have to get insurance, you know what I mean? All of that stuff that you have to do. And we alkies, we don't want to do that because in the back of our mind we're thinking, I need money for drink. And drink was always a motivation. I didn't know. I didn't know. Sure. So right down all the people I was in, and the principals that I was in, and the institutions that I was in, you know, the Dole and people like that, that's the average institutions I did, and certain other institutions like the Royal Family and things like that. Just put it down. Then you go down the middle page, the cause of it. What's the cause of this resentment? Go back here again. Yeah. So I'm now writing down the cause. Next column. What part of me was affected by it? I didn't know anything about that. What do you mean, what part of me? And I was puzzled because I didn't know about me. There was no me. It was just, you know, and it was truly shocking. And I started to discover what was going on in my life. And the part of me affected was a personal relationship, well, definitely with my mother and my family, because I was the only boy and I was always fighting with my sisters. And I always got the blame because all my mother wanted was peace and quiet, because she was off her head in these drugs, which we didn't know. So she took out, we didn't know. So she took out on me. Brings back bad memories, guys. Bad memories. Bad memories. This was the alcoholic. This was the beginning of it. Stinking thinking. Lived in poverty. Lived off the dole. Sometimes she got a job in a chip shop or something at night, so she couldn't be found working. And she done her best, but it was never going to happen. It was never going to work. It was just never going to work. And I say she done her best because I'm not here to tear her apart. I'm not here. She just didn't know how to do what she needed to do because her parents didn't teach her. Her sisters were the same. Screwed up marriages and all that stuff. She screwed up kids. It filtered through every aspect of her family. And it's not nice when you start to realise what was actually happening. And you get flashbacks of the situations. So that's where it was going on. Yes. And that's where it was going on. Yeah. And of course my father died. Cracked his head at work, failed, cracked his head at work. Never saw him again. Didn't see much of him anyway. I don't remember him. I don't have a visual memory of him. I don't think there's a photograph of him. And that's strange, isn't it? 10 years he's been in my life, and he can walk by me in the street. Well, I might get a like kind of buzz about him. But that's been the most, and that's scary. You know, that is just so sad. And this is the illness beginning, 10 years of age. Poverty, dreadful poverty. She had to keep 7 kids, 2 babies, and she had to wash and feed because we were too young. We couldn't help her. And she had to do this every day. It was unbelievable. But I didn't love her because there was no love. There's no room for that kind of stuff. I identify with her. I have a huge compassion for her. But I don't love her because nobody showed any love. And that's shocking. And I don't know that it's shocking, because you don't know it's happening. All right, okay. I don't know. Right. And I didn't know that. I didn't know. This is coming up all the time, isn't it? Wow. It's pretty cunning. No. Not been able to buy any clothes. Shoes that were falling off. Soles flapping about. And no dry clothes. No clean clothes, because, especially in the winter, because she couldn't dry the clothes. And she had the big sink. Big deep sink. Where she washed the clothes by hand. And then put them out in the line to dry them. Sometimes we didn't have any coal for the fire, and we'd sit huddled around the fire for a little bit of heat. It's shocking. You go home in the morning, she'd be in her bed, because she'd sit up to the early hours to get some peace and quiet. Especially with the mad neighbours who moved in. 5 kids now, a fucking dog. And that drove her mad. Helped to drive me mad as well. And bitter. It's a bitter taste. And how she was basically abandoned with her children. So that was my childhood. And lots of stuff. Lots of stuff about people I resented. That's fine. And then we have a look at it. We see it. I sit with a man and discuss it with a man. And he points out, because we're good at ducking and diving, aren't we? You know, we're rationalising things, rationalisation and justification, and that has to be smashed, and it's up to the man to do that. And he points out all this stuff, and he points out, no, you have to. That's what you done. Yeah, he done that, but you done that, and because he done that, we're no longer justifying it because of what he or she done. This is what you done, and it's obvious that you were wrong. Oh, right, okay, fine. If we must. And he was very clever at that. He was a very gentle man. Very gentle man. So I done the step 4, and at the end of it, I was buzzing. Step 4 and 5, I was just buzzing. So that was them, yeah. That was their stuff, and this was my stuff. And I have to go and apologise. Yeah. I don't have to. No, this was a fantastic introduction to recovery. Wow. And I've only been at it a few hours. I was up to his house. I already had steps 1, 2, and 3. One with me saying step 3, which I thought was a bit strange. But I wanted to do this stuff. I had a desire. People recognised my desire. But they only came to me after I'd changed. She used to frighten me, said this beautiful woman. She was a model from the 60s. She was hooked up with some guy, the #1 hit. I don't know if you know. And they all lived in the same place down by the river. And she got upset. She was a model, and she got upset with his boyfriend because he was cheating on her. So she got a shotgun, went over to Keith Moon's house looking for him. Keith Moon took the gun off of him to just count it. And she was the one who came to me. Said, "You used to frighten me." Because I didn't realise I was scary. I didn't realise I kind of snarled. Just the way my mother did when she spoke. She kind of snarled. And the reason why she snarled is because her ears were all blocked up. The newspaper or whatever, tissue, toilet paper, if there was any toilet paper. Can you imagine living in the house without toilet paper? I did. Shocking. No soap. No toothbrush. It's okay, because we couldn't afford toothpaste. And if there was one toothbrush, everybody used it. Just truly, utterly shocking. The place stank because a few of the girls were bedwetters, probably because of the way they lived and whatever else. And me and Mary, we were not bedwetters, so we slept in the hut. And the place stank, stale, piss, and, you know, having to go to bed and it's still, oh. So I don't know how they get through that. Honestly, don't know how they get through that. I don't talk to them. We don't talk. We don't talk. There's too much pain in it. Too much pain. If they want to talk, I'll talk. But they don't want to hear what I'm saying because it upsets them. And they blame me. But you're just blaming. You're just on the blame game here. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. This is the truth, and you know it's the truth. It's easy to call it a blame game. But there you go. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. My elder sister died. I think she was an alcoholic. One of those sneaky ones. And I remember a couple of times when she did wrong, she just became a really nasty person. And interesting if I could handle it when she was drunk. When she got drunk in front of me, I managed to get it worked out and sorted. It wasn't too bad, but she always targeted my mother. She always targeted my mother. She knew what was going on. She knew the problems. She saw it. I saw it. But only through the program. Only through step 4. What it revealed is astonishing. Get it done. Get it done. And tell me. Let me know how you get on steps 4 and 5. If you need any help, I'm here. Anytime. It's a pleasure and a privilege to assist you in your understanding of this. That's steps 4 and 5 basically done. You know, you have a look at your 6 carry-ons and whatever else. There was a few, but generally I was a driving instructor, so there was a couple of classic situations with driving instructor. And I had this girlfriend who became my wife. That's another story. You realise in sobriety, she's off her head. You know, she's a total screwball. Most relationships break up in recovery because the alkie sees it, but the partner doesn't want to see it. She doesn't understand why she's in the game. Why are you going out? Why are you going out with that guy for? Her sister used to say that to her. Why are you going out with him? What are you doing? Why are you marrying him? Why are you having kids to him? And she was pretty sweet. It made no difference to her. It made no difference. Because she was playing the game. The game that was laid out for her as a child with her gambling father. There's always something. There's always something. So she had me, and she could blame me for everything, and she could rationalise and justify everything because of me. Off having sex, we could go over that, whatever, you know. Even when I was sober, she was still doing it. But when I was sober, it didn't bother me. If she disappeared, okay, see you later. As long as the kids were there, everything was okay. His mum did. I should do that, pal. Pal's not well, pal. She'll be back in a few days. And all right, okay. I managed to get fed, to get washed, to get sent to school. And I think I even kept the house kind of tidy. But I was bothered. Before this program, I'd have been frantic. I'd have been totally chasing all over the place looking for her. And here I am managing. Not a problem. Wow. And then she got back and never said hello. Never said hello to us, was that? And I think she told me she was at her sister's or something like that. And her sister was a scrubber as well. You know, so if she's at her sister's, there you go. But it didn't bother me. All the kids were okay. But she soon smashed that. But this is not my step 4. This is your step 4. So there you go. You've got this list, right? You have to set that aside, and you've got to have a look at your own stuff. You have to be looking at it. So where were you at fault? What? Me at fault? Yeah. Where were you at fault? What was your mistake? Who did you harm? What part of you was at fault? Yeah. Whom have I harmed? And I've got a list of people I've harmed. One call. Where call. What did I do? Let's have a look through it. Returning home. Interaction. Having made our personal inventory, what shall we do about it? We've been trying to get a new attitude, a new relationship with our Creator, and to discover the obstacles in our path. The God stuff will never bother me. We admitted certain defects we had ascertained in a rough way what the trouble is. We have put our finger on the weak items in our personal inventory. Now these are about to be cast out. This requires action on our part, which, when completed, will mean that we have admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our defects. This brings us to the fifth step in the program of recovery, mentioned in the preceding chapter. And I do like this, page 67. We worked out in step 4, looking at what people done to us. Right, okay. We avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. We've discovered that these people are sick. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. We cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and every one. Well, he certainly did with me, because I've taken hundreds of people through this program. I remember saying that I'll have to keep a list because nobody will believe me. And I didn't keep a list. So what? They don't believe me. But it's perfectly reasonable to consider that I've taken more people through this program than anybody in this country. I'd like to meet somebody who's taken as many people through, because they would understand and they would notice it. And you would see it in them, this inspired to look. These people are inspirational. These people are inspiring me. Spiritual. Wow. Hold on a minute. Just something. There's something missing. So I have to go back and look at this and see where I was at fault, setting aside the wrongs of others. And that was fascinating. And there were certain people that I didn't like. But I had to go and make amends to them. I always remember that guy who owned the driving school down in Harrelson, Mark, his name was. He was insufferable. And he was a cheat. He used to play golf. And he cheated. And he thought he was getting away with it. And just not a nice person. I had to go and make amends to him. And okay, fair enough. I think he was quite taken aback by it. But it was okay. And I think most people are taken aback by it, because it never happens in their life. People upset you, they just disappear, and that's it, done. See you later. And I'm getting a bit distracted here. Bear with me. And, so I go out to make amends to these people. And I can't do it all in one day. So it's an ongoing adventure. And there's step 5. Simple as that. And it is interesting. It really is spiritual. So one wee guy, he asked me to fit a radio for him. I don't know what I was doing for him, but he asked me to fit a radio, and I said, well, yeah, okay, fine, I can do that. And I thought it'd be easy. And I blew one of the channels on this brand new radio. And I made an excuse, and that's nothing to do with me. There's a problem with it. And I was past his house, and I said, I owe this guy an amend. And I went into his house, chipped on the door, and we worked with him. Told him, hold on. I said, if I can make some sort of offer, pay as compensate. No, no need for that. We've got another radio, everything's fine. And it's worth it just to hear what you're saying. Because he wanted to know. Oh yeah, he wanted to know. Probably knew somebody had a problem. Maybe him. This is, I think it's amazing what you're doing. And good luck to you. And that was it. Lovely, lovely experience. And that's the way it was with most. Well, I found out the other day my ex-wife, it was a waste of time. First wife. And she's still rationalising and justifying, as most people do. Truth is an interesting thing. Getting the truth, fascinating thing. Very few people manage to do it because very few people batter themselves so much, abuse themselves so much, that they end up with this program. And wow, this is my medication for my back. You know, for 2.5 years waiting for the National Health Service. Shocking business. And I'll tell you, they took me in for the operation. I was on the bed, ready to go in, and the anaesthetist comes in. Oh, we can't do it. I'm looking at the doors that I've got to go through to get this over. Why not? So you've got a heart murmur, you've got a chest infection. You've done a pre-op check 2 weeks ago. Nobody said I haven't got a chest infection then. Oh, you've got a chest infection. I said, no, I've not. And your body mass. Well, we've done a check 2 weeks ago. It was okay. She was okay with it. That was her job to say, no, he's overweight. No, your body and something else. And that was it. No, can't do it. We can't do that here. You have to go to the main hospital. This is a private hospital that the National Health Service sent me to. And but I dealt with it. This was the thing. I coped with it, I dealt with it, I walked away and it was like, okay. And I was upset and I was cursing and swearing and doing whatever. I don't think I was cursing and swearing. But that was it. It's done, nothing to do about it. And that was almost a year ago. So I've been hobbling about for this part of 2.5 years, 3 years. Destroying my football career, I'll have you know. 64 years of age, and that was me on the scrap heap. No more Monday night football. That was spiritual, by the way. Me and Glenn, what a show we put on. The Nutmeg King. Right? You just go up front and I'll feed you with the ball and you do the business. That's all we done for 10 years. Fascinating. And some people really, really appreciate it. You know, it's good. I like the way you two play. It's nice. It's good football. That's lovely. Lovely to hear that stuff. Tony didn't like it, but he was Italian. And I made the mistake of nutmegging him 3 times on the first night. So that wasn't too good. It wasn't too fun. I don't nutmeg people for fun. It's to make a pass of them. And I could get distracted with a bit more. Most of them didn't like me. But come the end of it, most of them did like me. Interesting transfer. It's with certain people. One guy saw me come up and give me a hug. I was picking a customer up at a wedding reception or something, and he was a guest. And he said, John, come over. Hey, good to see you. What are you doing? And he used to try and kick lumps at me. Lovely, really nice enough, big Glenn. 2 Glens. Glenn, whatever your name is. What's his name again? Can't remember. The backman. He's a backman. He does people's backs. Doesn't know for himself. So there was the 2 Glens. And Thurlow, or Furlow, I'm not sure whether it's Thurlow or Furlow. Glenn Thurlow. Some of the passes he gave me were just ace. You couldn't help but score. Used to chip the goalkeeper. The wee shallow goal as well. Used to chip the goalkeeper. Or nutmeg him. And anyway, I'm distracted. But you see, I used to be the person. If you're here now listening to this, I used to be you, and now I'm me because of this program. And I might witter on a bit, I might do whatever, but I'm here, and I've been here for 27 years, and nothing happens without me understanding it, because step 10 and the phone, talk to people. So there's step 4, and you look at your sexual conduct, and you look at your fears, what you're fearful of, not what you're frightened of, fearful, full of fear. Full of fear about flying. And that's realistic, yeah. You know, there's other stuff. Yeah. I'm frightened of falling into a volcano. Well, don't be near the volcano, you have, but yeah, that nonsense. And that's it. That's it. I like that. A business that takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. And it's so true with us. That's why this inventory is so important. So important. It's in the book. Read the book. Simple. Any problems? Get back to me. So that's 4 and 5 sorted. I return home. I've been at the man's house. He caters for me. Fed me. That was nice. And I returned home, and there was an estate shop. I was driving this big Jag that I thought I'd treat myself to for because I was sober for whatever. And I was driving down a main carriageway, dual carriageway, sometimes motorway. And I was driving down in my big Jag at 30 miles an hour. Everybody else was doing 60 and 70. Big trucks would go by me, tooting their horn, yeah, you know. And I was, what's going on? What's happening here? Fortunately, I got a puncture. I had to pull off and get it sorted. And by that time, I'd kind of wised up. But that was the effect I had on me, just astonishing. I was just, oh, where am I? What is going on here? A spiritual experience. No, I didn't know it. I didn't know it. So returned home after a while, considering what I'd done. Right, so I read the book, take the book down for the shelf, right? Okay, fine. No, right. Okay, let's go to step 6. Step 6. Where is step 6 here? Well, it's putting in context what you've done. You've got this list of people now that you need to make amends to. Are there any that you're not too sure about? There were, for me. And this is a big thing, the sponsors telling people what to do. And if you've got somebody on your list, then you have to go and make amends to them. No, you don't. Excuse me. Discussing stuff, but it's effective. Just in case there's a wee alky sitting watching me drinking. Sitting on his hands. God, look at him drinking. Oh, I wish I was kind of special brew. Never drank that stuff. Never drank any of that stuff. Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. My gratitude. My gratitude is in going to those rooms and talking and insisting on talking about this program and only this program. That's how I show my gratitude to AA and the people who helped me. And there weren't many, I'll tell you. There weren't many. Shocking. There's a few stories. There is a few stories that I'll set that aside. But it is interesting what some people do with this program, how they use it as a weapon. came across quite a few. Scary business. So anyway, so that's step 6. If I've got anything that I'm not too sure I can't let go of, which I did, because I told you at the beginning my son was murdered, and I resented the person who murdered my son naturally. I had a wee woman, and I took a wee woman through the program. She had just come back from a relapse. She'd had a sponsor and all this stuff, and she'd done the steps. And step 4, her father abused her sexually. And this sponsor said that she had to go and make amends to her father for resenting him. Oh, is that right? And this is what sent her back on the drink. Because it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to get this program. Somebody sent it to me, somebody about a treatment centre, whatever, sent it up to me. There's a rotating revolving door in my house. One came in and one went out, one came in, one went out. And that went on for a few years, especially down the east end of London. Yeah, this moron told her that to get well, she'd have to make amends to her father for resentment. Hey, Dad, I'm sorry for resenting you abusing me. You just couldn't make it up. There are resentments which are totally justifiable, and that was one of them. And this has got to be smashed, this idea. Totally smashed. I have to learn to look at the camera as well. Who knows? I want to see what's going on down below. So, this wee woman burst into tears. Oh, why are you crying? She said, I'm crying with relief, I'm crying with happiness. That was major for this wee woman. Totally and absolutely major. And to sit there and be involved in that is just astonishing. And that happened on a Stuart case. I met some very interesting people. One guy admitted in his step 4 that he murdered the guy. Shot him. Would you do that? Well, wait a minute. Is it true? Is he just exaggerating? Do I go to the cops? Oh, there's a problem. There's a pickle for you. No, I didn't go to the cops. I respected his anonymity, and whatever happens will happen. But I didn't go to the cops. Tried to stop me, guy. Quite a few to stop people, but they got through the program. And that was amazing. A Lord Soto, his son. Oh, that caused a fracas with the security forces, the police security people. They got in touch with it. We need to know what you're doing and what's going on because of security for Lord Soto. Wee John sitting in his house from Woodside, getting a call from the cops. I said, well, this is all we're doing. Simple as that. Nothing to worry about. Everything's confidential. Right, okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And just amazing. The cops, the CIA, or whatever. What are they called? Those special cops in this country. We've got the FBI. What have we got here? Well, anyway, it was there before me, just to kind of figure out what was going on, and there was no compromise happening or whatever. Well, anyway, I had to smile. I just come a long way, John. Come a long way. And God knows what happened to that guy. He was a strange young man. He was training to be a doctor, but he was a strange young man. He was very insecure and immature, and he didn't like walking around shops and stuff like that because it freaked him out. So I decided, look, we're going to have to go and get something to eat because I've not got anything, so I have to go down the shops. You want to come with me? And he said, yeah. And we walked around the shops. And he was amazed that he was able to do it. That's what he said to me. I couldn't have done this before. This was after step 4, 5. Remarkable stuff. And I didn't have the knowledge that I have now to understand just how remarkable it was. And there you go. And all these people walked away with the program. They now have the option. It's done. You have a look at it, right? Are you okay with it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's fine, thank you very much. Step 7. Right, okay. Any problems? Stay in step 7 prayer. Of course, faith without works is dead. Brings us to steps 8 and 9, page 70. I really will have to get back into it. I used to know this off by heart, that stuff, by the way. I never get anybody. No, yes, I've been put out to whatever they do, put you out to the fields and just forget about it. Yeah, I don't get people anymore. The bad mouths me so much that people are frightened of. And there's other people who love me. And they love seeing me in the meetings. And I don't know, that's step 6. Step 7, my creator. I am now willing that you should have all of me. Good and bad, I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have then completed step 7. So these are the people that we've recognised. The rest of the people are okay. It's not them, but these are as I say, the guy who murdered my son. I'll never forgive him. You joking? Get yourself. It was so bloody stupid. And people are going about saying that. Promote themselves as spotless here. I knew he'd come up. St. Paul, the guy who people ask him why he's so happy. Makes you cringe, doesn't it? People ask you why he's so happy. He certainly wasn't happy with me when we joined this internet group, and so a few months ago. He got upset with me, Mr. Happy. You don't sound too happy now, Paul. Why are you complaining about page 18 stuff? And I said, go and set up a page 18 meeting. Paul, you wanted to do every meeting should have the man on page 18. What are you talking about? It's fundamental to an AA meeting that the man in page 18 is in that meeting to help at least one man. And this was Mr. Happy. So I managed to upset him. And he shut the meeting down. They had a group conscience, so he and his apostles, or disciples, Paul and his disciples decided in their wisdom, because the meeting was getting too controversial. This was a senior meeting, and I'm allowed. I qualify. And you couldn't make it up. You really honestly could not make it up. I've not seen him since. I sent him an email, whatever, berating him for his nonsense. But he's got a reputation. He's part of the World Council thing and all that jazz. Yeah, he goes away abroad to these meetings. He doesn't have a clue. And there are people like that, and they just want to be there. They are, what is it said that way about constructive criticism? Yeah. It's okay to criticise something, as long as it's constructive. Right. Okay. Excuse me. Oh. Almost collapsed yesterday. I went sunbathing, which was really nice. Nice bit of countryside round about. And I took a lot out of me, I didn't realise it. And then I drove up to Bishop Slot Road and went to Waitrose, because that's where I go. I go to Waitrose, upper class chap. I wish my bike was better. I could go anywhere in the world. And all I'm doing is sitting here dying. I feel my body shutting down. Weird. It's kind of weird. But this, my message to you, will last forever. And if you don't want it, bugger off. Good luck to you. So yeah, right. So there you go. Faith without works is dead. So we need more work. And it's steps 8 and 9. Step 8, made a list of people we had harmed. Oh, so we're going to make a list. No, you don't go and make a list. You've already made a list, haven't you? When you took inventory. Oh, that's right. Good. So I don't need to do any more writing or anything like that. No. Oh, thank goodness for that. I met a young guy down in Camden, one of those one-day celebration things, about the convention. Scouser Tom was there. He disappeared when he saw me. He's another one. He's like that mad Paul character. They really got on well together. And I talked to this young guy in one of the breaks. I really wasn't bothered with the meet as such. I could have left at any time. But this young guy said, how are you doing that? Where do you come from? Norfolk? Oh, yeah. I just thought about that. How are you finding that? Do that thing? Oh, I said, my sponsor suggested that I should come down. It'd be good for me. All right, okay. Not one, but who am I to say? So where are you at with the program? Well, I'm doing my step 8. You're doing your step 8. What do you mean you're doing your step 8? Well, I've got to get this list sorted out. I said, but if you read the step, it says we made the list when we took inventory. So if you've done the steps properly, from step 4 and 5, you should have a list of people that you've got to make amends to. And a young guy, oh, no, I'll just do it the way my sponsor said. Well, I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but you did it wrong, and you can discover that by looking at the fucking book. Sorry, I swore. I promise not to swear. So there you go. This is crap that these monsters are talking about. But don't worry, we're almost at the end. Take a deep breath. So I've got to go out and make amends to people. As I talked about earlier, the wee man, his car, his radio, bang, wonderful stuff. Made amends to my horrible old Irish mother-in-law, who's now dead, God rest her, but still made amends to her. Didn't want to, but I did. And I don't think it made any difference, but that's not the point. And my family, as much as I could, whatever. And I wasn't particularly good at it, obviously, because I'm just learning this stuff, you know. But I think the point got across. And 25 years later, I'm still here sober. I don't see my family. That's right. Don't resent them. I don't think they resent me now. And sometimes I had good reason to resent. And yeah, so that was okay. So whilst we're doing this, whilst we're going out to make our amends, we take step 10. Continue to take inventory, personal inventory, not moral inventory. We know the truth, but we're now taking a personal inventory on a daily basis to keep a check on ourselves, to make sure that we're not slipping backwards. That's interesting. That's interesting. You lay it out exact same way as your step 4. That's how simple it is. Just the exact same way. Pardon me, fault. That's it. I remember saying to man, I've not got time for this. No, you don't get time for it, John. It's interesting. You've plenty of time for drinking, John. There you go. Soft-spoken Irishman. Boom. Blew me out of the water. And I've now got step 10s up there. It's fascinating. But I do a gratitude list. So I can pick up that folder and look through it and just pick any page and look at where I was at that time and what my gratitudes were. That's fantastic to have that, because sometimes you're feeling down, things might not be quite going your way. And you pick up and it gives you a boost. You know you're on the right track. I've taken many people through this program. They're amazing how simple it is, but that's it. Everything I've told you is in the book. So What more can I tell you? You want to sit here and listen to my story? No, that's fine. Some people do. Some people enjoy it. It creates an atmosphere. And they don't want to leave the atmosphere too soon. They want to just sit and just wallow in it, so to speak, you know. Wallows are a word. But you know what I mean. So that's it then. Simple as that. It's in the book. Follow what's in the book. If I've forgotten something, you'll find it in it. If you want to berate me, phone me. Get in touch on this thing here. So I'm not too sure what I'm doing. I think I'm in focus and all that stuff. I've got a lamp to add a bit of Dracula stuff, shadow. What do they call it? a bit of, I've lost the word. Atmosphere. Atmosphere. Da-da-da-da. Step 11. Try something. You've got your own idea of God. It's entirely yours, you know. And well, there was something about step 11. What was it about step 11? Praying only for knowledge of His will for us. All right. That kind of flicks into step 7 a wee bit there, which I quite like. Praying only knowledge and the power to carry that out. I've already got my God, so I talk to my God whatever way I want to talk to my God. That perfectly. That's lovely, isn't it? It's really so nice. They don't dictate nothing, do you? It's not a Christian God. It's not whatever. It's whatever you say it is. But at the same token, you've got to. My back's beginning to give up, guys. Got to collapse. Start through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we know Him. Praying only for the knowledge or the power to carry that out. That's all I'm praying for. I'm not praying for anything else. Just praying for the knowledge or the power to carry that out. And that's cool. That's cool. You talk to the person who's guided you through it. No, I don't use the word sponsor. It's a horrible word. Yeah. Shall we finish on Paul again? Yeah. St. Paul. I told him, phoned him up once. I told him that I'm disgusted by these sponsors. And he's so shallow because he knows that I've got huge experience with this stuff, just by reputation. You know, I said to him, I'm totally disgusted by these so-called sponsors. I said, well, you must be talking about me then. Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Of course I'm talking about you. All right, okay. And that was it. And then he cancelled the meeting. He shut the meeting down because of that Scottish bloke talking to them on man on page 18. Who's essential. Without whom nothing can be achieved. The man on page 18. So why are you getting upset about that? But there was no controversy. So it's controversy that I said. He's a disciple, guys. And, I'll probably write something on it that's become inspired. It took me long enough to get this done. How long have I been rattling on here now? 1 hour and 19 minutes. So 1 hour 20. There's bound to be things I've missed out. But that's the gist of it. And you get this stuff. Come back to me at any time. And you will get it. And you deserve it. It's not your fault. Oh, wait, it's not my fault. No, it's not your fault. You're a victim of circumstances beyond your control. Because you were a child. That's your average output. Very baffling and powerful. I didn't know, and I didn't know I didn't know. Wow. Get your head around that. Right, that's it. I've had enough. Fed up with you. So needy. So I end the stream, don't I? Right, okay. Anyway, bye-bye for now. You've got no excuses, but you only need to contact me. You need to have anything clarified. And everything I've said's in the book, so I'm in the safe place. If you don't like the look of me, what can I do? Go somewhere else. But you find it very hard to find somebody like me. And that's the tragedy of it. I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting at all. I just talk the truth. So there you go. If we don't meet again, have a good life.